Welcome everyone to our annual Forensic Speech Debate and Performance Showcase. Thanks a lot for coming. We haven't had a showcase since before COVID, so I'm excited this gets to start all back up again. My name is Dr. Josh Hamzahy. You can feel free to call me Josh, and I'm the director of the Forensic Speech Debate and Performance team, alongside our other coach, Dr. A.C. Pinella, who couldn't be here today, but is wonderful and is sending his best regards to the team right here. We are on our way to Nationals on Saturday, which is in Washington, D.C., so you're seeing their performances right before they get to present them for the rest of the country. So I'm really excited to see what y'all think of them, give them a great reaction. What do you do if something's funny?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. What if you do something sad? Oh, right? And so they're going to put out the performances, and we'll tell you a little bit about what this is. And so I'll start off with a couple of the basics, and I'll tell you how this show will run to make sure we get everyone out of here by 8:30 at the absolute latest. Once again, my name is Josh. If you have any questions about the team, feel free to chat with me afterwards. We also have a sign-in sheet in case you're here for class credit. Or if you'd like some more team information, sign up there, and we'll send you all of our information. And so a couple of the basics. We'd love to thank the Communication Studies Department for helping us host this team and bringing it back post-COVID. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank our administrator, Jennifer Mahoney, who has graciously answered every single question and helped us got this running up again. The support from SRJC, the wonderful students, and now as well, you all. Your reactions really help them figure out what's working, what can still be stronger as we head towards nationals as well too. So I'm excited to see what y'all see. As far as this year, we've had a great turnout as far as the speech debate and performance team. We've had over 40 students enroll in the class itself. We've taken over a dozen students to tournaments outside of campus. We've had over 30 students so far perform in tournaments, counting our intramural tournament in the fall. And we're having another tournament on April 21st on campus, the intramural tournament, where students from SRJC compete against and with one another. And so the way today's structure will work out, just because you can't see all of their performances in the hour 15 we have, we'll show you 3 full performances and then a medley of all the other performances, 2-minute versions. And if you'd like to see the rest of them, come to the intramural tournament on April 21st to check them out. A couple basics before we get started. That's it. Beautiful. Make sure you turn off your cell phones or put them on silent. And come on down. We can do that really fast just so that doesn't interrupt any of the performers. Thank you. All right, so as that is happening, I want to give you a little bit of a rundown of how the show will work. And so we'll start off with a full performance. I'll tell you what that'll be about in just a second. Then we'll have 2 sections of 2 to 3 minute student medleys, and I'll guide you through that. We'll have another performance, another couple medleys, and then we'll end it with a 2-person performance. And so our first performance tonight will be by our team president, Sequoia Sanchini. They will be doing a program called a poetry interpretation. And so what you'll be seeing, just because it might be a little unfamiliar for folks right away, you'll see this little black book. This is just an homage to the history of the activity. The reason why it's called forensics, it's just the art of seeking truth. We do that with the performance, we do that with speech, we do that with debate. We're just finding truth in how the world works. And so as far as the performance goes, the first minute, kind of think of it like a movie trailer. They'll open the book, they'll give you the first minute and a half, here's what this is about, etc. They'll close it, and then they'll give you their academic argument. This is why this matters. Then they'll open it back up and give you the rest of their 6-minute performance, and then you'll applaud. So that's how it works out, and then I'll explain to you how the medleys will work out once this first one is complete. In addition to this, their event they're doing is poetry interpretation. How that works, they find texts of different poetry around a similar topic. This one is on the idea of the Star-Spangled Banner, and then they create a poetry program around it. So a 1-person show that uses different poems to create basically a 10-minute performance. Does that make sense so far? Awesome. So without further ado, let's have Sequoia Sanchini.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, say, can you? Miguel wants to learn the Star-Spangled Banner. Miguel was the last fourth grader to migrate into my English as a second language class, and the first to raise his hand for every question. But Miguel views letters in a different way than most, because there are so many words in Spanish that simply do not exist in English. He learns to pack them in his suitcase and forget. Ojito, puedes ver the dawn's early light, lo que con tanto orgullo saludamos by the twilight's last gleaming. For Ana Maria, it begins before the border. She walks with her two uncles in a desert for a week, with nothing but a prayer tucked into their pockets, hoping it will last them long enough. The sun is an unforgiving God, but any God is worth having. So they step, step, step. Ojito, puedes ver la primera luz de la aurora, lo que con tanto gusto pasamos con el último destello del crepúsculo. This is America. Speak English. Too many people who I look like are ready to pull that line out at a moment's notice. And yet, how many times have you heard, estamos en los Estados Unidos, habla español? No. The whitewashing of America is linguistic as much as anything else. By 2050, we will be the largest Spanish-speaking country in the world, and we already have more Spanish speakers than Spain, and yet the language has been robbed by countless generations. This program follows an ESL teacher as she attempts to teach and is taught what the Star-Spangled Banner can really mean. Using the new national anthem by Ada Limon, the Star-Spangled Banner by Angelica Maria Guerra, Borders by Dennis Frohman, and the Star-Spangled Banner by Francis Scott Keys in both its original English and Spanish translation. A bilingual, single-voice poetry program. The Bandera Estrellada. The truth is, I've never really liked the national anthem. When you think about it, it's not a good song. Too high for most of us with, and the bombs. Always, there's war and bombs. ¿Y dónde está esa franja que tan asombrosamente borraron the havoc of war, the battles, confusion, a home and a country would leave us no more? Because so many things translate backwards from Spanish to English, throughout the entire piece, he tends to say things in the wrong order. So when I ask him to sing the second verse, it sounds like, and the rocket's red glare, we watched our homes burst in the air. It gave proof through the night that the flag was still there. When her family arrives, Ana Maria will learn there are some borders you can't cross by foot. She is 10 years old. She's learned enough English to translate for her parents, but still thinks that her thick accent is a problem she tries to fix by leaving behind in her locker. When the teacher is calling her to read, she tries to speak proper, as if proper had a sound, tries to push down her tongue so she can roll her ut, but trips on the syllables that bounce too much silence. She tries to rattle out the kinks in her speech, but her tongue is a stubborn dancer. The two boys sitting behind her don't know how to do long division, but they know that Ana Maria has braids, And the Ana Maria's hair is thicker than their sister's. And they don't know how they know, but they know how to treat difference when they smell it. So they say stupid things like, yo, go back to your country, as if their Irish ancestors never walked through Ellis Island, and what of the verses we never sing? The third that mentions no refuge could save the hireling and the slave. Perhaps the truth of this country is that every song has an unsung third verse. Ningún refugio podría salvar a los mercenarios y los esclavos. And the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave sobre la tierra de los libres y el hogar de los valientes. They say music is deeply intertwined with how we remember. Miguel hears the marimba and learns the word home. Hears his mother's accent being mocked and learns the word shame. He asks me, what does the word America mean? What does the word dream mean? I tell him 2 words with the same meaning are what we call synonyms. You could say America is a dream, something we all feel silly for believing in. Ana Maria is now 16. Her mother cleans houses she'll never get to live in, so she can sit in a college classroom and say, I am here. But her guidance counselor says she can't get financial aid or the in-state tuition rate because of her status. She says it in an apology. He says, teach me. Teach me how to say bandera. Teach me how to say star. Teach me how to hide my country behind consonants that do not get pronounced. Teach the letters to just flee from my lips and build a word out of nothing on my tongue. Oh, home is not a sound my voice knows how to make. Oh, say, do you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Y el rojo fulgor de cohetes, las bombas estallando en el aire dieron prueba en la noche que nuestra bandera aún ahí estaba. Oh, y tú, sigue ondeando la bandera estrellada sobre el hogar de los libres. Y her guidance counselor stands in front of her with a mouth full of fences. There are some borders, I tell her, that cannot be crossed by foot, but borders that can be crossed only by stubborn backbones. So when they come for your papers, Anna, show them your skin, wear your tongue like a cape, throw your fists like a secret you can't keep any longer. They can't keep you any longer, afraid you can't afford to drop your dreams. So when they come for you, tell them in the language that you know best, que ya no tienes miedo. Because you are not afraid any longer. It's strange. What makes it over the border to the left side of the brain. How our minds do not let us forget an accent. It's a mother's tongue, refusing to let her child go. Oh, say, for whom does the star-spangled banner yet wave? Give back the land to the brave, and let us make a home for us. Free.
All right, that was an example of a poetry interpretation. Again, they take multiple texts and create kind of a one-person show out of it based off of a theme. So the next thing you're going to see is a medley of, feel free to come on in, yeah. We're going to see a medley of prose performances. Prose is, think of short stories, novels, anything that tends to be in paragraph form. Since we, again, don't have a million hours to show you their full length, if you're interested in seeing more of them, come to the intramural tournament on April 21st. But so you'll see the first 2 to 3 minutes of each of their performances. And so we will have Abby Conrado, we will have Matt Atkins, Ivy Wheeler, and then Sequoia Sanchini going up one at a time. You'll see their teaser, so their movie trailer, where they started off for that first minute and a half. You'll also see them close their book, give you their academic argument, and they'll stop it there. That'll be their cliffhanger. We'll applaud, and we'll go to the next one. Make sense? Cool. Do we have the first two folks with mics on? We'll have that in just 1 second. We'll have two medleys, so you'll notice we're the speech, debate, and performance team. We'll still be getting up debate over the next year. We just couldn't do it all up first. And so you're seeing more of the performances up front. In a second, you'll see a couple speeches, and then we'll end with some experimental performances. And so that'll be the structure of the night. But it looks like, first up, we have Abby Conrado.
Our working group in Cuestro decided to visit Chile's Villa Grimaldi in 2016. Villa Grimaldi is the infamous of the 1,173 spaces used for torture, detention, and killing under the regime of Augusto Pinochet. Once a beautiful 19th century villa that was used for extravagant parties was taken over by the military to interrogate its people. The notorious night flights in which prisoners were taken and dumped into the sea alive and weighed down by metal. So I asked Pedro Mata, a survivor, to walk us through. He hands me an English booklet that he had written, a 21st century guide to a torture center, a visitor's guide. I tell him that I speak Spanish and that I'm from Mexico. The question then remained, what language would he speak? The group decided, and he should speak Spanish. And I volunteered to translate the rest. Chernobyl, Auschwitz, the National 9/11 Museum. Once a place of unspeakable horror, is now a place of memory, a portal to the past. Some argue that these places are a traumatic reminder for the survivors. Others say that they're an important place for those who seek to learn more about the dark chapters of history. But if we're not fully able to articulate and translate the past, is history bound to repeat itself? Torturous Routes, 4 Walks Through Villa Grimaldi by Deanna Taylor.
As a traveling sports writer, the Olive Garden is often the easiest option. But my wife worried that I would poke fun at Marilyn Haggerty's now famous Olive Garden review. In case you missed it, the 85-year-old author of the Grand Forks Herald wrote an earnest review of the Olive Garden. So earnest, in fact, it blew up the internet. And she asked the server what she would recommend. And she wrote, at length, chicken Alfredo is what she suggested. She thought this was the most amazing thing ever. I loved it. And here's why. I want to live in a world where people can enjoy the Olive Garden unconditionally, without irony and without sarcasm. But who wants to truly admit that they really and honestly like something? Author Joan Didion once said, "Innocence is lost when one is stripped of the illusion that one likes himself." In this prose, Joe Posnanski writes and grapples with vulnerability in writing, in parenthood, and in childhood, asking us, when our innocence is lost, is it lost for good? This is The Olive Garden by Joe Posnanski.
Dear United States of America, you are currently using my 1985 novel as a template for your own dystopia. And you are doing so without my authorization, thereby violating the U.S. copyright law. With your $6 trillion annual production budget, you have developed a more faithful adaptation of my novel than Hulu ever could. However, Hulu had the decency to ask me to be a producer, and they gave me a cameo in the pilot. You didn't even offer me a seat on the Senate Ethics Committee. Or a chair on the Supreme Court, guys, come on. Not even a spot on Forbes 80 over 80 favorite Canadians list. I'm real disappointed about that one. Adopting one or two aspects of The Handmaid's Tale to rebrand the American dream would have been considered fair use. But all of it? What the fuck? In the United States today, the solid ground we once believed to be our undeniable rights is slipping away. Margaret Atwood says, writing is always an act of hope. And in the original letter that Margaret Atwood writes to the nation, she warns us that if we are not careful, the rights we hold dear could disappear. Exactly 20 years later, Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, the right to same-sex marriage is being challenged, and our technologies is monitoring our movements and our reproductive cycles. Along with books being banned, left and right. In response to this, last year, Margaret Atwood created and developed an unburnable Handmaid's Tale book. And then she took a blowtorch to it. Because her powerful words can never be extinguished. And writing is always an act of hope. This is my act of hope. Margaret Atwood's cease and desist letter for plagiarizing the plot of The Handmaid's Tale. Problems learning to talk. So far as anyone knows. In fact, I'm an early talker. So I should be able to meet all my needs using speech. Right?
Okay.
Right? Wrong. I can tell my teacher about the last book I read and all about the linear equation I used to solve the challenge problem she gave me last week. I can't tell her of the bomber game Liz is playing with me isn't fun, that it's scary to be chased around by a bigger, faster girl who doesn't like you and is talking about killing you. Even if she's joking, because I can't tell when people are joking. I can't tell them that no, I'm really not cold in 50 degrees and my arms kind of just forget how to run in a jacket. But I can tell her about the last book I read, all the things I can't. Don't say can't be all that important. The language of differences and disabilities is filled with cans and can'ts. Someone with audio processing disorder can hear but possibly can't understand. Someone with schizophrenia can hear things that might not be there, and someone that's deaf can't hear those same things at all. And yet, this becomes a lot more complicated and controversial when you apply it to disabilities that affect the very wiring of a person and how they live their life through many domains. This piece uses anaphora, the purposeful repetition at the beginning of sentences to challenge us if we can move beyond this binary model of can'ts and can'ts and find a better way to talk about disability. Can Writing Save Me Yet? By Alyssa Hillary.
Hi, wonderful. So you saw an example of a sampler platter of prose performances. Again, short stories, novels, things that tend to be in paragraph form. Next up, you'll see a medley of dramatic interpretation performances. So think of plays, documentaries, movies, films, anything that tends to be more character-based or meant to be on the stage. And so you're going to see 5 examples of this, the same kind of format, and right after that we'll get to another full-length performance. And so you'll see Josue de Leon, Grace Drake, Isabella Casola, Angela Mariani, and Matt Atkins. As far as mics, are we good? Yeah. Wonderful. So excited for you all to see some dramatic interpretation performances. Same structure as last time. You have a teaser, introduction, we'll clap for them, and we'll keep going. So first up, Josue de Leon.
Muhammad Ali, a wrestler, who would win? Bruce Lee, who could he fuck up? That's mixed martial arts. There's more to it than just holding and pounding. Jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. I've always been a wrestler, but now, I ain't worth shit though. I always tell people. And they're like, yeah, but you're Jens Pulver, one of the baddest men on the planet, a world champion. Just a world champion, huh? I'm in the gym of my dreams. Have a family of my dreams. Unfortunately, they watched me lose 4 fights in a row. The other day, my wife told me, this is it, Jens. If you lose, you'll be done. Mixed martial arts legend Nate Diaz once said, everybody wants to see a knockout, unless it's you or your loved ones. The following documentary follows along UFC Hall of Famer Jens Little Eagle Pulver as he prepares for the final bout of his career. Delving into who he is now, where he came from, and staring at the end of a very successful road. He's faced with a too much familiar question facing many today. When your career becomes your identity, what do you do when it's taken away from you? Jens Pulver, driven by greater pain.
Our first show, it was a... Hold on a second. Excuse me, sir? Yes, 2, please. This one's for you. 1 for me. White wine, of course. Okay, not too much. Cheers. Cheers, Carolyn. It was in response to the fact that we were going to have to be writing our own stuff. Yeah. Meaning, there was nothing in the entire theater universe for women if you're not an ingenue or real. Oh, I just love it when I get called to play real. But we're not going to talk about that. Nor are we going to talk about how many times we've heard 2 women on stage, I feel like I've seen them. Or our favorite, she's so brave. Or how if more than one woman is in a show, it becomes a woman's show. But we're not going to talk about that. Believe it or not, of the 8 billion inhabitants on Earth, women are in the majority. Wow. Shocking. Yet in the United States, we see that 70% of elected officials, 78% of film directors, and 65% of doctors are male. It is no coincidence then that issues like reproduction and representation are categorized as women's issues. When we label things as such, the people in power don't seem to take these problems seriously, meaning a solution is never achieved. This drama, counteracts this trope, arguing that women's issues are everyone's issues. When 2 women walk on stage, it becomes a woman's show. By Sharon Custer and Carolyn Poole.
Of course. Lucy's stuck in the icebox again. Can I just say, I hated Lucy. I used to have to watch her all the time with my pops. He would call her La Calora, the redhead. He would come home late at night after work, sneak me out of bed, and we would watch I Love Lucy reruns. Now, that was kind of cute when I was a kid, but as I got older, the more tired it got. You know what I'm saying? In the 1960s, my great-grandparents moved my grandparents here from Cuba because of an unstable government. Today, 200,000 Cubans immigrate here away from an unstable government, hoping for the American dream. However, in the American dream, Cuban representation is not there. We think of Fidel Castro, Pitbull, and Desi Arnaz. This drama shows that instead of leaving everything behind us, we should probably focus on what is in front of us. The language, the culture, the people, Pops, by Jorge de Leon and Edwin Sanchez.
Whoa! I don't know if you ever done this, stood up on a stage like this, but it's very, very weird. Can't see shit. And that space, what is that? I feel like little elves are gonna come out or something. Well, I came out. No pun intended. And now, a very nice dyke in a leather jacket is going to come out and discuss some philosophy. Right. I'm afraid I don't have very much to share on the subject. Actually, wait a minute. This trash can's perfect. Shit happens. Whatever you believe, this covers it. Otherwise, how come God lets all this terrible stuff happen, right? A study done by the Bureau of Justice Statistics showed that between 2017 and 2020 in the United States, People who identify as LGBT are the victims of violent hate crimes 9 times more than people who identify as straight. And with extreme anti-queer rhetoric on the rise in the US, the Scientific American, December 12, 2022, states that it is unlikely that we have seen the worst of the anti-LGBTQ+ violence. So, I offer a content warning for queer violence, as this drama begs the question, why do we keep letting this happen? God is a Dyke, by Jane Shepherd.
losing 80 pounds. People ask me how I did it, what diet I was on, how many times I worked out. So I thought I'd answer everyone in just 4 easy steps. 1, no beer. It's like eating 7 slices of bread. I know. 2, portion control. A good trick is when you get your meal, ask for a container, cut it in half, and save the rest for later. 3, get your heart broken. The 2023 Population Health Journal states that over 50% of people struggle with weight stigma. I've struggled with weight stigma my entire life. What really started to change was once I realized I had to start taking action in order to start seeing results. But could it be as simple as just poof, and then the stigma's gone? Or could it be more complicated than the self-help books and short stories could lead us to believe? This is How to Lose Weight in Just 4 Easy Steps by Eric Lambert.
All right, I'll sorry about the technical difficulties, but that's how you know it's live, right? All right, so you saw a bunch of performances up front. So the performance side, the speech, debate, and performance team. We're going to switch it up a little bit and get into the speech side. And so for speeches, we offer traditional speeches like informative speaking, persuasive speaking, and the one you're going to see here is an after-dinner speech. Think of a persuasive speech, but with jokes throughout. So it's not exactly a stand-up comedy set because there's more of a deeper point to it, but it's still littered with humor. And so I'm really excited for y'all to get to see this, and hope you enjoy. Next up, we have Grace Drake.
When I was a freshman, fresh woman in high school, I was insecure and awkward, and I couldn't figure out how to exist in my environment. It was at this time that I was recommended medication by my therapist. Shout out Susan! My parents thought we should exhaust our other options first. So, for the next 4 egregious years, I went unmedicated. I was impacted by medication shaming. Oh, and gender shaming, and body shaming, and slut shaming. Wow, tonight has been wild and it's a Thursday. Now I confidently take 7 pills daily. And I know I'm not alone. Okay, so what is everyone on? Wellbutrin, Adderall, Lexapro. Well, Georgetown University's Health Policy Institute states 66% of Americans take prescription drugs for mental health and chronic conditions. Okay, so we've talked about the meds. What's the shaming? Well, med shaming occurs when someone expresses negative opinions or disdain when you tell them you're popping prescriptions. They wrongly assume it signifies a weakness in character or an inability to work through tough times. To just suck it up, buttercup. Sort of like when my dad tells me to just stop being anxious. Gee, I wish I thought of that. And I mean, how can I when the world is ending? Have you seen a persuasion round? Okay, don't worry, me neither. Therefore, today, I will be playing Dr. Drake to you all, because there will be more than one dance. And I prescribe you some symptoms and some side effects, like nausea, indigestion, heartburn, loss of appetite, and death. And how to solve it all, like everything else in this country. Drugs! Speaking of, my roommates are always on my case about if I've taken my meds or not. I reckon you're acting crazy, Bryce. And I tell them, shut up, cats. Okay, now, there are two symptoms to med shaming. First, who is med shamed, and second, extreme views. People take medication for mental health, diabetes, birth control, to prevent HIV and AIDS, visible and invisible conditions. And women are disproportionately affected. Yes, my fellow fresh women, I mean, we're so emotional, right? I'm just crazy, right? I mean, what? Crazy. No, okay. While women more frequently go to the doctor and take more medications, while guys just wait until they lodge something up their butt. Right? I used to say that I didn't want to take a pill to be better. I just wanted to be better, on my own. And this is the root of the stigma. Colleen Cancia, a licensed clinical social worker, told Healthline, quote, taking medication is a continual external reminder one has something wrong with themselves, thinking they're less than, not equal. Second, our all or nothing mentality on medication is harmful. You're either a natural organic hippie using sun rays to heal that childhood trauma aura, or Amanda Bynes. Not everyone taking drugs or medication is an addict about to OD, but the media bombards us with that. I don't know if you've heard, there's an opioid epidemic. Yeah. The American Society of Anesthesiologists states 90 Americans die every day by opioid overdose, while 2 million actively abuse opioids. Because, as scholar Camila Cabello once said, nicotine, heroin, morphine, suddenly, I'm a fiend. At the same time, shrooms were decriminalized and there are dispensaries at every corner. But without hearing about the people medication works for, like law, we assume all Western medicine is bad, when it's not, just the people who make it. And legislate for it. One more, the doctors that oversell it. However, often the reactions to our needs are undersold. You should be fine, you should be able to do it on your own. You should just go outside, get some vitamin D. Dick, honey, not sunlight. Well, stop shooting on me. With the stigmatization around medication, it is no surprise that people first don't take their meds or take too much, and second, struggle to speak up and ask for help. Firstly, have you ever experienced mania? And no, kleptomania does not count. We all had that phase with Target, okay? I'm talking, you reach your breaking point, and it's now 50 feet behind you. Remember when I said I went unmedicated for 4 years in high school because my parents said no to Susan? Well, high school was an anxiety fest with the occasional tantrum, panic attack, and, well, chaos with a red-haired protagonist. I have a friend who is bipolar and told me once during a manic episode, he planned a jewelry heist. Forget Ocean's 11, it was just the ocean and it was going to work. These dynamics is exactly what causes us to have unhealthy relationships to what we're prescribed, leading to us not taking our meds or taking too much. I'm grateful my parents ultimately supported my treatment. That is not an aid many have access to, whether for financial reasons, a lack of education. They live in Florida. Second, in 2021, Forbes chronicled how 45% of Americans with a clinical level mental health problem do not seek professional help. You should be able to do it on your own, my ass. While women more frequently visit the doctor, men often suffer in silence. In 2019, for example, Brian Sims, a Pennsylvania representative, received backlash when introducing legislation for HIV prevention medication, declaring the shaming around Truvada PrEP is akin to shaming women on the pill. To combat this stigma, he took a photo of himself, holding the pill of course, and posted it on social media. And it probably would have been more effective if he had bothered to get a manicure. Harmful statements, backhanded comments, certain religious and political ideologies fuel the societal stigma around medication that we experience today. Without proper help, it's a life or death situation. In 2020, the CDC approximates there is 1 suicide every 11 minutes. Think about that for a second. I mean, that's not that much longer than my speech. Hopefully. Okay, so what are we gonna do about this? Dr. Drake here again, the American one. And I have brought you all, just give me one moment, some samples. Oh, are they in here? This is a sample. There you go, and some solutions. To stop the shaming, we need to speak up and shame shaming. Use social media as a tool. Share openly. Post about your highs and your lows. Check in on your homies. The treatment center I attended had a saying, working on building a life worth living. And let me tell you, the grace before you today is not the same grace from a year ago. I'm a year older, I'm a Taurus, thank you all. Secondly, lead with empathy. Even though families, friends, partners may mean well, their statements can be harmful and counterproductive. Keep an open mind, otherwise mind your own business. Shame and guilt prevent people from getting better. Do what In-N-Out Burger does, donate to people in active recovery. But just know that you don't get a discount when you say you overcame addiction and have an NA chip to prove it. I almost went full animal style on them. Or, if you care about the environment like me and Greta, and you don't know what to do with those copious amounts of pill bottles building up in your room, what about making fairy lights? I mean, it's a DIY craft, your prerogative, your health. Okay. Dr. Drake has prescribed you some symptoms, some side effects, and some solutions to medication shaming. And just remember what America's boyfriend, Pete Davidson, openly admitted. There ain't no shame in the medication game. So be kind and take your damn pills. Thank you.
All right, that was an example of an after-dinner speech. Again, a persuasive speech with humor throughout it. Next up, we have a short medley of a couple informative speeches. Again, we don't have time for the entire thing, so you're only going to see the introduction or the first 2 to 3 minutes of the speech. We'll have Sequoia Sancini and then Josue de Leon, both of which are taking their informative speeches to nationals next week. Are we good with almost 1 second? So, anyone interested in joining the team next year? All right, we got 6 or 7 people there. It's a lot less scary than you think. One of the things you'll know, especially the thing I love about public speaking, is that everyone is great at it. You're just trying to find your niche, right? What is the thing that makes you excited about it? And so, an activity like this, I think, really does help that out and will help you find your voice. And on that route, let's hear Sequoia Sancini.
My nation's messing up pronunciation of other languages, by the way. Di mana ada orang, pasti ada bahasanya. Jadi, mengapa bisa ada orang yang tidak peduli tentang kepunahan bahasa, tentang kehilangan budaya asli manusia ini? Now, I would have been willing to bet my tongue not one of you fully understood how I chose to begin my speech. Anyone gonna make me pay up? Because I spoke in Bahasa Indonesia, the lingua franca of the Indonesian and Malaysian peninsula, which is now also under the threat of English. According to Language Conservancy, 7,151 languages are spoken today. According to Ethnologue 2022, 61% of the languages spoken as a first language in 1795 are already functionally extinct, with another joining them every 2 weeks and taking a wealth of cultural knowledge and health with it. As a handful of major global languages like French, Spanish, Arabic, Mandarin Chinese, and, you guessed it, English grow in dominance in our globalized world, the rate at which languages are lost is only accelerating. So today, I will be going over what the threat to minority languages are, why linguistic diversity matters, and what is being done to attempt to protect the world's marginalized tongues from linguapocalypse, the catastrophe facing modern languages. Except not really, because it's not a speech.
Fairy tales surrounding exercise yards, cozy reading rooms, video games, and scent-infused de-escalation rooms. Is this new college housing, or is this a new division of juvenile justice facilities for youth in California? The ACLU states that America is in love with incarceration of youth. So let's ask ourselves, is California posing as BJJ, progress, or is this just a cover-up for the dog past? As the imprint states in one of the articles, it's hard to rehabilitate these kids in intrinsically traumatic scenes. I'm a criminal justice major, and I grew up in a small neighborhood where many fell to the system that isn't designed to help them get back up. So let's ask ourselves, is California's BJJ closing progress? Or are they just covering up for the dark past?
Our short informative speech medley. Next up, we have our last medley of the night before we get to our last full performance. These are more of our typically experimental events. And so you're going to see 3 events. The first one by Abby Conrado is a program oral interpretation. So similar to the poetry interpretation, where they gather a lot of texts under one argument, instead of just poetry, they can use any type of text. You can use poetry, prose, drama, tweets, TikToks, whatever you want, and we create a program around that. The second one you'll see is by Isabella Puget, who will be giving you a poetry program. So similar to the first one you saw, they take different texts around one argument. And the third one you'll see is a duo interpretation, where you have 2 people, and the trick with that is, instead of looking at each other, they have something called offstage focus. And so you're able to see both of their facial reactions instead of just their profiles. And so it makes it a little bit artsy for you. Are we all ready for mics? Sweet. So next up we have Abby Conrado with programmable interpretation.
Where we obsessively fangirl over something. Right? Right? Okay, for me, it was at age 12 when I discovered BTS. Yeah. I wallpapered my bedroom with pictures of the band until you couldn't even see the purple paint behind it. I bought almost every piece of autographed merchandise bobblehead, still hidden away in my closet. Yeah, I was the BTS girl. And I thought my days were pretty bad until I first logged on to Tumblr, aka the gathering of the fangirls. When supporting an idol or an actor turns into an unhealthy obsession, that is when a fan is called a saucing. The term translates to private life. Back when I was promoting for group, the saucings would come into our house all of the time. I would send photos of my living room, my kitchen, my bedroom, and I was in the photos. That means that they quietly snuck in, took pictures, and then left. It always starts like this. You might have heard of BTS, but you don't get the hype around them. I mean, you prefer English songs and you wish that your favorite artist would get more recognition than some overrated Korean boy band. But then one day, the YouTube algorithm recommends you 7 guys who all seem to fit the Korean standard of beauty. And you click. And the beat, it's kind of catchy, and you like their voices too. But K-pop is so overrated, right? There isn't a magic number of likes or retweets that will make Jungkook from BTS fall in love with you. Trust me, I've tried, and 4,000 is a little too much. Love isn't a science, but marketing is. Korean record labels like SM Entertainment and YG Entertainment market their idols like the latest iPhone. Hot, exclusive, and made just for you, as long as you keep the moolah and engagement pouring. Love is a valuable marketing ploy that creates the illusion of an emotional bond. We explore the truths about how compulsive fan culture creates saucing soldiers. With Fangirls Stay Away from Tumblr by Ashley Shervinsky, What Are Saucings? A Guide to South Korea's Toxic Fan Culture by Hannah Spondong, The 6 Stages of Falling in Love with BTS by Suzy Duer. Kim Jae-joon recounts his shocking 12-year-long struggle with saucings by Yoo Kim, and the scariest saucing stories by Laura Yi. We all want someone to love and someone to share it with. When is it wrong to be a saucing?
They say in the 7th grade, you are who they say you are. But how can that be true? How can I be a Godzilla girl, a Leslie loser, a big mouth, a string bean, a pro basketballer, a beanpole, too tall, too loud, too pushy, too proud, a giant tree look up at me like a skyscraper given all of the attention owed? Did I mention? Not a second goes by that I can be shy when I'm 6 inches taller than all the 7th grade guys. This is for the boys that said they could take me in a fight. This is for the boys that want me to dunk on them. This is for the boys who couldn't catch up to these long legs as I'd be stepping on them when I walked by. This is for the boys who couldn't quite catch up. This is for the boys that I outgrew. Now I have a question for you, boys. Who told you that standing next to a tall woman would make you any less of a man? I am performing this poem today because I have finally found confidence in my height. After a long, long, painful period of growth. Using the works of Addie on the Inside by James Howe, Imani Sassan's Heels, and my own stories, I present to you, Where are the Heels?
And as they're arranging the mics for that second person, once again, the next event you will see is duo interpretation. And it's a 2-person performance. One event we're bringing on next year, once we are fully loaded, is an event called Reader's Theater. Reader's Theater is 3 to 10 people, 25 minutes or less. And so a very much exploded version of what you'll see next and as far as the last performance as well. And so in addition to speeches and performances, you won't be seeing our limited preparation events today. And so limited preparation, which we will be taking to nationals, include events such as impromptu speaking. And so you get 2 to 3 minutes to give a 4 to 5 minute speech. We have 2 people going into nationals with impromptu speaking. One is that sound right there, Soka Song. And another one is Angela Mariani, who you'll see in the last performance. Another limited preparation event we have, if you're really into politics, if you're into domestic economics, international economics.
We love you, Josh.
Thank you. I'm just being censored right there. And so if you like to give a 30-minute preparation time to give a 7-minute speech, extemporaneous speaking might be your angle as well. And so we do speeches, performances, limited preparation, and then next year we'll also be bringing on more debate events where you get to test your mettle argumentatively with other folks. How are we doing with this? We're almost there. Yeah, I guess it's my turn to perform.
So who actually takes what future? I do. Oh. No.
Anyone have any plans for after this? Right before this, the Communications Studies Department had a big comm open house where we got to meet a lot of y'all, and so I guess I'm done rambling, almost, maybe.
I think I'll just talk.
Yeah, can we just project?
Yeah, if you want to, I'm good with that.
Yeah, we'll both love.
Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. That's our motto this year, live, laugh, love.
All right.
All right, next up, Sequoia Sanchini and Soka Song.
At last, a great adventure. A great adventure. Don't know when we'll reach the end, or if we're gonna find the end. So just enjoy the ride, because no one gets a second time around.
Hi everyone. Look, I promised my YouTube channel wouldn't become a theater review channel, but we have a special guest, and this is...
Sydney, they, them. I'm an actor, educator, and advocate. I'm standing in front of the bookshelf.
You know, I looked up Kimberly Akimbo and disability way too much after I saw the musical Mood.
There were a lot of parts of it that I really wanted to love.
They all ice skate on stage, which is really cool.
Like in real life skates.
Yeah, that's what they do. But some people say that the show is not about disability because her disease is fake or whatever.
One review from the New York Times. It's not about a disease, unless it's the one we all have.
Do you for real?
I know. Welcome to Zippy Burger. Can I take your order?
I'll have 2 cheesy burgers and 2 Frenchy fries, please.
Is that Kimberly Lavaca? That'll be $5.63. You're 16 today.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
So, you know how we have to write a paper about a disease?
Yeah.
I was wondering if I could talk to you about yours. You know, how you're like, oh, and everything. But really you're not.
Oh. I guess, okay.
Okay.
True disabled representation by and for disabled people is unfortunately rare.
Often we're left to caricatures or disabilities that only exist in subtext if they're acknowledged at all.
This use of disabled people by able people to make them feel better about themselves is a little thing we like to call inspiration porn.
Soka, we are trying to give a serious introduction.
Trying to give a serious introduction. But Kimberly Akimbo the musical couldn't do the same, so why should we? In fact, Broadway even casted a 64-year-old woman to play a disabled teenager without even acknowledging what her disability was.
So, a program to do a better job than Broadway, using the musical, the 2003 play, Kimberly Akimbo, by David Lindsay Baird, and the YouTube video, Disability and Kimberly Akimbo, the musical, by Sydney Zarlando.
Because disabled erasure costs more than Broadway tickets.
And those are expensive too.
Alright, so you saw a mini version of a duo. Now you'll see the full performance as our final performance of the night, a full duo. Are y'all good with that?
Yes.
Sweet, awesome. So a quick update about this. This will be our final performance of the night. I'll have a couple, like a minute chat with you right afterwards, and we'll get y'all out of here on time. This duo just won a state championship down in Southern California. And I'm really excited for y'all to enjoy this. So next up we have Angela Mariani and Ivy Wheeler.
Near, far, wherever you are,
Welcome to the Titanic Museum. Here, you will see artifacts from one of the greatest tragedies in American history.
I believe that the heart does go.
Sorry. And here, you will see the records of the 3 black people who were on the ship. A father who died, and his 2 daughters who were actually among the 700 survivors.
Once more.
Oh, and here is the Heart of the Ocean necklace, worn by Rose, who was one of the few survivors.
I have a question. Did this happen?
Celine Dion? What are you doing in this museum?
Surprise! This is so cookie crazy. Why not, here, girlfriend? Thank you so very much for having me. I love you. I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. I came to this museum because this is not how I remember the Titanic at all.
Wait, but Celine Dion, you just sang the theme song for the movie. You weren't actually on the Titanic.
Or was I?
112 years ago, the Titanic sunk. Over 1,500 people died.
25 years ago, the Titanic was released, and 2 fictional characters gained life while bombing the original tragedy out of our collective memory.
Since the ship hit the iceberg, Encyclopedia Titanica author Monica Hall writes that the disaster has become a joke and metaphor for politics, classism, and gender, and how collective memory is shaped by time, media, and patriarchy.
When the stories we know are not the stories that happened, who are we forgetting?
That is why counter-narratives are essential tools in separating fact from la fiction. Titanic, un paradis musical.
By Marla Mendel and Constantine Rizzoli.
But that would make you 150 years old.
And you are confused because?
Okay, so Celine Dion, if you were on the Titanic, what really happened?
I can still smell the ship of dreams. The wind was so cold and the sun was so cruel. I will never forget the day I boarded the Titanic. Independent from my Canadian home for the first time, there was a dreamer named Jack.
I'm the king of the world!
A rich ingenue named Rose, and her fiancé.
The bigger the ship, the bigger the deck. It's a joke.
And then there was Rosa's mother, another gorgeous day to be a rich, white racist.
Dear, what's wrong?
I don't want to be engaged to Cal, Mother.
You shut your mouth! Shh! Cal might be wearing a full face of makeup. Shh! But he is rich as hell. And you are gonna have his baby.
I don't wanna. So everybody boarded the ship. See, Mom, Captain, when are we expected to dock?
Barring any issues, I'll have us there by Tuesday.
I don't think this is a good idea.
Of course it is. It's mine. I'm a man.
How many lifeboats are there?
Enough for first class.
Well, I hope there aren't any icebergs. Oh my god. A baby? Hey, what are you doing up there? You're distracting me. I was trying to kill myself.
Look, if you jump, I'll have to jump in. That water looks really cold. I'm Jack.
Rose.
Look, I know that the right to vote for women is like 8 years away, but you don't have to take this. Rose, I want to give you something.
Oh my god. Is that?
A diamond in the shape of a heart? Hell yeah, I got it at Jared's. So don't deny me. We're gonna do it tonight.
So Rose went to bed scared. Would she have sex with Cal while wearing this diamond necklace from Gerard's? Gerard's is so scary. Rose knew not to follow the heart around her neck, but the heart inside her body.
Psst! Rose, want to come to a real party? Meet me at the clock after dinner.
So Rose met Jack at the clock, and Rose was like, "Hey girlfriend, how are you?" And Jack was like, "I'm good, girlfriend, how are you?" And Rose was like, "I'm sorry I'm late, I was learning how to put on a bra." And then they did Eskimo kisses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, romance. And then they went downstairs. And this is when it got so scary, they saw an Irish lady holding a baby. And then they knew, right then and there, that it was time to dance.
This is the part that rich people don't want you to know about. How's the wedding planning going? Rose, with the poor kid, you will honor Cal in his every desire.
God damn it, Mom, it's just not fair!
Fair? It's not fair. I'll tell you what's fair. We're women. Our choices are never fair. Never let Cal go.
Hello? Jack? I thought I might find you up here.
Yeah, I've been up on this deck pondering. Step up, hold on to the rail.
I barely know you. What's your sign?
No.
Okay. I trust you. Draw me like one of your French girls, wearing only this Cal gave me, gently placed on my chest. Booty hole. Out.
Jesus, it's huge!
It's a very rare diamond. It's the heart of the ocean. Costs more than you and this ship combined. Draw me.
Head down. Fix your face. Pop that foot. Rose? What is this? Is that peasant trying to steal the necklace I bought? Arrest him. Throw him downstairs with the Irish lady and her baby. Rose, your dead father would be appalled.
Look out! It's an iceberg! Ah! I need to find Jack before he drowns. Oh, Jack, I found you so quickly.
We need to get to the lifeboat ASAP.
There's only like 2 for 2,000 people.
Help me get out of this handcuff. Just grab that Renomax, close your eyes, and swing it.
Oh my god, I did it!
You cut off my hand.
We need to get to the lifeboat.
Rose, we need to stay on this ship as long as possible.
No. Jack, look, the lifeboats are almost full. We need to go now. Jack! Okay, I landed on this very big door. Come on, you're ready.
No, I'm good.
We're gonna freeze from the bottom up, Jack.
I'm cool. I want to stay the few days that I've known you. I ruined your marriage, your relationship with your mother. I
and you might die. There's room. I'm so cold. Rose, promise me you'll survive. You'll never give up. And you'll never.
I'll never let go, Jack.
But that's what you did. You living let go of everyone on board that ship.
And then something kooky crazy happens, empowering my voice and magically lifted up 2,000 dead souls and restored their lives!
So, wait, Jack died? But what happened to Rose?
Rose found out she had a gift for singing and music, so she opened up her own show at Caesar's Palace.
Wait, Celine Dion, are you?
Rose, aren't we all?
People don't live that long.
Or do they?
Here for one big curtain call at the end, and then we'll wrap it up. This is your SRJC National Squad representing us next week. So thank you all very much. Don't let me go back home and wrap this up. Thanks a lot for coming tonight. Really appreciated it. Your feedback, your voices back to them gives us a lot to kind of keep in mind as we go ahead towards next week. And having this audience really helps us prepare for nationals. So thank you very much for being here. A couple things, only since you got a couple tidbits from the performances. If you want to see the full-length versions, our intramural tournament on April 21st happens in Garcia Hall. If you'd like to judge, if you're not a student, you're more than welcome. We can use your labor. If you're a student and would like to compete with a speech you're already putting out there, or a performance or a presentation, we'd love to have you. Other than that, thank y'all for being here.
Because this showcase isn't just your work in this, but because you have literally built this
From the ground up.
Yeah!
Josh is definitely more than just a professor. He has been one of the most supportive people to all of us, especially as newcomers who have done this pretty much for the very first time, that it would be impossible to have done anything without this wonderful, amazing human right here.
Side tangent though, I'm not particularly a very talkative person, and I don't necessarily like talking in front of people, but Josh really is able to bring people to feel confident about themselves and to not be afraid to do something they're not necessarily used to. So.
like impromptu speaking.
Thank you all so much. Give me emotions. What's this? Yeah, I appreciate it so much. I'm excited to have like the next 10 days with y'all in Washington, D.C. If y'all are again interested, come chat with us, come chat with them, tell them congrats, and we got you out of here before 8:30. Congratulations.